If you clicked on this video, then you're probably a mum who has a baby or a toddler who is just not eating. They're demanding to have their favourite food for all meals of the day, or point blank refusing to eat anything, only wanting milk, only wanting cereal, only wanting things that are not going to fill their stomach. And honestly, I think that was one of the hardest parts of motherhood that I've actually embarked on so far, when your toddlers are just refusing to eat anything. Before I start the video, I'm going to start with disclaimers. I am not a professional, I'm not a nutritionist. I don't offer professional help or advice on how to get your toddlers to eat. These are just tips that helped me, mainly with my firstborn, who is now 3, and my toddler, who is 19 months. I feel like his phase has passed, but I know there is another time where he's going to have a little bit of a phase, and the same tips that worked for his brother and him, I will use that again. So let's get started. So the first tip is to offer your toddler a variety of food options. Now, I would say to do this from quite early on. And I had to start with this one because this one is very key. If children are not introduced to these foods at a younger age, then they are likely to refuse it as they get older. You want to offer them different vegetables, different fruits, whole grains, lean protein, and dairy products, of course, only if your children can eat dairy. Offering a variety of flavours and texture can help expand their food palette and encourage them to try more foods. Second, I found this very helpful. And you might think I'm already doing this already, but really think, is there anything you can do a little bit more? This tip is being a role model. So by this, I don't just mean joining them at the dinner table, eating around them, eating at the same time that they're eating so they feel encouraged to eat, but also eating the foods that you are offering them. I found that some people that I knew, they were giving their children different foods. So maybe they would have, a meat and mashed potato and vegetables, and they would say, my child wouldn't like this, so I make something else, or they make what they used to. This can be a problem. You need to role model the same foods that you want your children to eat. And as they watch you enjoy your food, enjoying your meal and eating all your food, they will feel encouraged to do the same. Tip number 3 is to establish a regular meal time and snack time. Stick to a consistent schedule for meals and for snacks. Not when they decide to tell you when they're hungry or when they want to eat. Designate a breakfast time, a lunch time, and a dinner time, and a couple of healthy snacks during the day. This helps regulate your toddler's appetite and encourages them to eat when they're hungry, not when they feel like it. Tip number 4 is to create a positive mealtime environment. This one is really important. When kids are playing throughout the day, they could be so distracted, so engrossed in what they're doing. If, for example, you want them to have their lunch, but their toys are all around them and their favourite program is on, they are not likely to want to try something new that you're about to give them. They're not going to want to stop what they're doing, stop what they want to do, and to eat. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. I found that creating a relaxed atmosphere with no distractions, no TV, no toys, and just focused on having mealtime, which is actually family time, with all of us eating our dinner together and everyone is paying attention to each other. We can then conversate on what we're eating. Do they like this? Is this yummy? Do they like this? Oh, mummy likes this, daddy's liking that. Really getting the whole family involved, and for them not to feel like, we're just saying it's time to eat and forcing it down their mouth, but them to really enjoy mealtime itself rather than feeling like they have to eat, if that makes sense. Tip number 5 is to get your toddlers involved in prepping the meals. This is another tip that my youngest really enjoys. Getting them to help make their dinner or even their snacks. Getting them involved encourages them to want to taste what they're making. It allows them to enjoy the process of making the food and enjoying seeing what it looks like, what it turns out after they've put their work and their effort in. It's also quality time with your toddlers as well. It could be very simple. They could help wash the vegetables, wash the fruits, pour in some ingredients, or just stirring the ingredients, or setting the table, just putting. This gives them a sense of ownership and may make them more inclined to try new food. Another tip is to offer finger foods. Toddlers often enjoy feeding themselves, so offer bite-sized finger foods that they can easily feed themselves with, and it will also encourage them to eat independently. This can include pieces of fruits, cubes of cheese, cooked vegetables, or whole grain crackers. Next tip is easier said than done. Be patient and persistent. It is very hard, and there are moments that you really feel like giving up, and there are moments that you give in to their favourite foods or the only foods that they're eating, but just be patient and persevere. It is common for toddlers to go through their picky stages and just refuse to eat anything. Be patient, keep offering them a variety of food, even if they initially reject it. It may take several attempts, and yes, sometimes it will take several attempts before they decide to try a new food. That is normal. Tip number 8 is to avoid food battles. Oh my gosh, I could put up my hands and say this was hard for me. This tip was hard for me, but eventually I had to avoid these food battles because I was not going to battle with my toddler anymore. And I really had to learn forcing him to eat was not going to help. It was only going to make it worse. Just offer the food and let them decide how much they want to try, how much they want to eat. Pressuring them or bribing them will only create a negative association to meal times and eating food, which will only lead to further resistance. Almost at the end with tip number 9, get creative with presentation. Make meals visually appealing by arranging foods in certain shapes to make it fun, and different colours too. Give them like a nice little colourful plate of food. This can make meal times more enjoyable and entice your toddlers into eating. Tip number 10 and the final tip is to offer choices. Give your toddlers choices within reasons, because of course we do want our children to eat and we do want them to be happy, such as letting them choose between 2 healthy snacks, so they can still choose, but it's got to be healthy, or deciding which vegetable or fruit they want to have for dinner or snack. This really makes them feel empowered and may increase their willingness to try new foods, which is what we want. Those are the tips that worked for me and my children. I really hope they help you. I wanted to keep it short and sweet, give you a list of tips that help so you can put them to practice. Let me know in the comments if there is any other tips that you can share, or if you've put these tips into practice and they've helped. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.